So we have this Toughbook. It's a Panasonic FZ55 Toughbook. It has a screen replacement. It came in yesterday. We have the screen already for it. Now these things are used for mechanics. It's a little dirty, as you can see, black on the back, probably from working on cars. Now it's easy, straightforward, but it requires a little bit of attention to details. So let's go ahead. Now, what do we need to do? We need to remove the screws. We're gonna need our Phillips screwdrivers. Just have them ready here. You have 1, 2, 3, one under here. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So without further ado, let's go ahead and remove those screws. Make sure to lay them in order on the side, so you put them back right where they come out of. It just makes things easier to remember. And sometimes the screws are different length, so that way you remember where it should go back. So we're just gonna pop this one out, put it on the side, we'll put it back with the customer. Even though the rest are all gone, one is better than none. This has more adhesive on it. Got stuck to my finger there, but it's all right. Let's continue. Let's see how fast we can get it done, but obviously getting it done properly is what matters. First time doing one of these. I do have an idea of how it's done. My partner just did one earlier, so I kind of saw what needs to be done. So it is still my first time doing it. All right. We're going on a journey right now of seeing what needs to be done together for the first time. All right, now that we have these screws removed, we have 2 on the top, actually 4 on the top. Let's go ahead and remove them. Okay, now this pops up, put them on the side. Supposedly this opens from the back panel opens. So, okay, looks like it's already coming out. However, it seems that we do have to remove these screws, and these are for the antenna. Okay, so let's push it back. We do have 2 more screws right here to remove, right under these plastic covers. So we're just gonna put them here on the top, just so we know that these go first. This cover should come out, so let's find out. There you go. Now that we have it open, we're gonna close it gently because we want to be careful with the hinges. We do not want to damage those hinges. So we're just gonna pop out the cover right here, right on top of the LCD connector. Then we're gonna grab our plastic tweezers. If you do not have a plastic tweezer, you can use a plastic spudger or anything that's not metal, because you do not, even though we have the computer off, you do not want to short out the pins right here. So we're just gonna remove that piece of tape that's stuck to the tab of the LCD connector. I'm just gonna do it from the bottom. I don't know why they would do that. It's kind of stupid from factory to do that, but they did it anyway, so we just have to deal with it. So we're very careful on the cable. We're not applying pressure on the cable itself. I'm just removing this piece of tape. We're gonna set it on the side right here so we could put it back. Now we're just gonna lift up this metal tab for the connector itself, and then we're just gonna slide it out evenly. Now that we have this out of the way, we can go ahead and lift it back up, because we do need to access the other side. And we just have to be careful with this cable right here. You don't have to disconnect it or deattach it, but if you want to, you can. Just for the sake of this video, let's go ahead and do it properly for you guys. That way nobody can blame me for this video. So we're just gonna set them on the side in order, right where they came out of. We're gonna disconnect this cable and move it to the side so we can pop out the screen with no issues. Normally what I would do is I would slide the screen off after disconnecting the adhesive from the borders of the bezel. And then we can just slide it right out from this way or this way, whichever one you're comfortable. But you do have to be careful with this cable, because this cable is for the top assembly. It connects right here to this. We're just gonna gently, now this one, you can see it has a tab here and tab here. You just have to, if you do not have nails, I suggest you using your plastic spudger, just so I can show you guys how you could use it, and then just pop it evenly from both sides. This same thing you're gonna do with this connector right here. We'll use the sharp edge on this one. Done. And then we're going to, it has a small adhesive here that's holding it to the frame, and then we can just move it out of the way. Now that we have this out, we're just gonna push this back in place, and then we're gonna lift the screen, and then we're gonna come here now to this side. On this side we have adhesive all around, so we're just gonna go with our plastic spudger, plastic card, sorry, and then we're gonna go through the borders gently, and you can see I'm holding it with the other hand here so I don't push too much and break it. Obviously we do not want to damage those hinges either, so I'm just loosening up the adhesive with my playing card while keeping it sturdy with my other hand, and trying not to rock it back and forth too much. There you go, this one's almost out this side. Do the top. And then we'll do the same thing on this side. This adhesive is a little tough, but I guess it comes with the name, Toughbook. Okay, we have the top out. Now we can just go ahead and do the back, the bottom. I have my hand on the back, and then one finger I slid between the LCD and the bezel, so I can hold it together so it doesn't just go and shoot out backwards. Okay, and then I could use my thumb finger to kind of hold it parallel so I can continue doing the other side with no issues, and it doesn't put too much pressure on the bezel. If I let it loose, you can see here it starts to move around. We don't want that. Now that the adhesive is loose all the way, obviously this is not gonna be, there's not gonna be too much pressure on this bezel, but it's literally almost out. So okay, now that we have it out, just gonna push it back. tape right here. This gets cut. This is for the LCD, so that's fine. We're just gonna push this back down while being careful with this, and then we're gonna remove that. There's tape all around, so we're gonna get our flat blade, and then we're gonna go ahead and clean the old adhesive out. So we're just gonna go under the tape itself and then try to grab a piece, and then hopefully we can just lift it off with our finger. Well, I guess we're gonna have to use the blade. So this blade, it's an X-Acto 04 blade, number 04. It's good enough for the edges. Obviously it's not completely inside of the edge, so you have to be careful. You have to be straight, diligent, and most importantly, do not scratch the other surface, because we have the screen closed. We do not want to scratch the palm rest. It's very important to clean the old adhesive out, because we do need to have a clean surface to apply new adhesive. Well, we did get a good chunk coming out of it. I'm just going to bring my garbage can closer to me so I can throw out the old adhesive. Let's see if this one comes out one piece. It would be too much to ask for it from it. It's alright. Just go ahead and use the blade. It's extremely dirty, which is expected. So we gotta be careful. We do have to clean it thoroughly, because the new adhesive would not stick to it if it's dirty. Obviously, as a mechanic working with greasy objects, it doesn't make the best clean environment. Now you do have to make sure that your blade is straight and it's new, otherwise cleaning the frame is going to be a nightmare. So let's continue cleaning the frame. while we're cleaning this frame, if you guys like these kind of videos, please let me know down in the comments. It really helps us deliver to you guys what you guys are interested in. Also, feel free to like and subscribe. And if you're looking for any of these type of repairs, if you'd like us to do it, you don't feel comfortable doing it yourself after watching this video, we can definitely do that for you. We accept mail-ins and walk-ins, and for the information you can find that in the description below or at the end of this video. Now that we have this almost clean, we can start thinking of our next move. What's our next move? Comparing the new screen to the old screen. Very important now, because when we order these screens, even if we order the right model number, sometimes it may not be the exact same model. Might be glossy versus matte, might have some rubber pieces on the side that are not on the new screen. So we do have to pay attention to that, as well as now we do need to clean the borders. So what I'm going to be using, I'm going to be using a clean room wipe, and I'm going to be using some alcohol. So I'm gonna fold it 2 times. That's once and that's twice. And I'm gonna use my black spudger. I'm gonna wrap it around it. I'm gonna use that as leverage to clean the sides. I'm applying the alcohol directly on the wipe itself. Now I'm just gonna clean up the sides as much as I can. You can see how dirty it is. Again, I'm holding the frame here because I don't want to apply too much pressure on the hinges themselves. As like you can see, it's moving left and right, so even after holding it. So you have to be very careful with that. You do not want to apply too much pressure on those hinges. Otherwise, you would need hinge replacements sooner than later. Let's fold it to the other side. Wrap it around. Put some alcohol. It's okay to soak it. You do need to soak it because you need a good amount for it to actually work on cleaning this old adhesive and the dirt that's on there. Alright, we're almost done. We can go ahead and throw that out. Let's get our new screen. This is the new screen, still in its wrapper. We're gonna go ahead and open it for the first time and compare what do we need to switch from the other one. All right. Just from first look, I can tell that this one is glossy versus the old one is matte. And I don't imagine that the customer would care much about it. They care about using the device more than anything. Let's just move these to the side, just so we can not scratch the new screen, so we can compare. So just on for a second look, we have this right here, this rubber edge that sits on the back of the screen. So we do have to transfer that to the new one. Now, it does seem that it's kind of taped to the back. So let's go ahead and use our flat blade to make our entry point. Move this screen. Now, this screen right here, don't be reckless as much as I am. You got to be careful with this cable. You bend it too much, you'll damage that screen. You need to replace it. Do not put your fingers at all on this cable here if you have no experience or the pressure needed for it to work. Now let's go ahead and remove this. You have these also right here on the sides that do have to be swapped out. So let's find the best way we could do that. So I made my entry point and I removed that, and it seems that it has enough adhesive power on it, so I can transfer it to the new one into the same position that I removed it from, which was on that left edge. The reason why these are there is so that the screen actually sits in the middle of that frame, and that's important, so it's aligned so it doesn't look awkward when you use it. I'm always gonna move that screen and put it on the side just so I am more comfortable. So let's do this one too. I'm using my blade to create an entry point, and then after that I can just use my fingers to move it out and then move it to the new one. Just like that, just massage it gently in place. Now let's do that small piece here in the bottom. It's very important to pay attention. This process works for literally almost any laptop screen, just the disassembly of the screen is different. The way those screens are, they're pretty much all the same. However, what differs is like small details like that, those rubber pieces, matte, glossy, and that's pretty much it, how it differs. So we have one here on the top. Let's finish up the sides first, and then we'll move to the other one. This one came up with the edge of the screen, like the protective film of the screen. So we're gonna go from the other side, which is like basically the opposite direction. So let's lay it down. At this point I can have both screens here now. Obviously I'm not going to put it on top of this, which is the tab for the protective film of that screen itself. It's a little offset downwards, so you got to make sure it's not completely on the edge. It doesn't have to be on the edge of the display itself, because that's not how it's set on the screen itself on the old one. I'm just going to fold this tab to the other side, just so I can avoid it connecting to that rubber piece. Now these rubber pieces, they have to come back out because they have to be on top of the they fold on top of this rubber piece right here that we also have to transfer. Actually, what could have made more sense is transferring this whole strip over. It would have made a lot more sense, so let's do that. I guess we just have to redo that section, which is okay. We live and we learn. So I'm not gonna lay it completely on because it seems that it overlaps on top of this rubber piece. So the piece of the protective film got stuck on this, which is not a big deal. We'll just go ahead and remove it. So again, this is my first time doing this with you guys. So it's okay if you find that you did something wrong. As long as you fix it is what matters, and doing it right. I mean, the way that I was doing it was okay, I guess, because it would still be in place. However, if something is designed to be a certain way, I think the engineers, they're supposed to be smarter than us, so they have it like that on purpose, even though it may not make sense to us. I'm trying to remove the plastic piece without trying to remove part of the adhesive that's on that bracket, just because I want it to stay in place. Make sure it's centered. I'm not gonna lay it all the way down yet. I'm not gonna tape it all the way down because I'm gonna do this first. The ones on the bottom and the top, they stretch all the way down, so it keeps it center. So it keeps this center, the ones on the sides. So let's just try to not lift it with the protective film. To save us the headache of cleaning it later. This sits on the area of where the cable sits, but on the metal piece, so you have to be extremely careful that you're actually putting it correctly on the new screen. So let's hold this down with our blade so we can, well, I guess not, it doesn't want to stay in place. All right, here wait. This sits on the edge of the screen itself. All right, now that we set that, we can go ahead and put this protective film that keeps it in its spot. See, this has to go down a little bit. Make sure it's at the edge. You can use your finger to line it up with the edge. That's the best way. And then just connect this to it. If you feel that you need to add more adhesive, you can just use double-sided tape. The 3M works perfectly fine. In my case right now, it doesn't seem necessary because it still has enough adhesion power. Now we're removing the top. Trying to get away without having to lift up the protective film for that LCD with it, so it's easier to install versus having to spend time cleaning it, just like we did on that edge. But it is pretty like stuck to it, so sometimes it's inevitable. So just place your finger on top of it and that would help you a lot. And it's okay if you bend this rubber piece. Obviously when you stick it back, it's just going to be straight on there. It's not metal or anything. Make sure to stick it to the side itself. It is perfectly flush with the edges, so just make sure you keep it that way. Now I got a little over on this side because it's not pushed all the way to the edge on this side, so make sure before you massage it in place, make sure that it's actually lined up. Not as lined up, we'll just push it back in place. That way you will avoid having to adhere it and then lift it back up. It's just gonna limit the adhesion power. So let's remove that small piece that we put here Then we're going to do the same thing for the other side as well. Remember also these rubber pieces, they sit on the edge of the screen, of the rubber piece or foam piece. They sit flush on the edge. I'll just turn these around. We're gonna have to remove these pieces that we put and just set them here without fully adhering them to the frame itself, just like one side. They stay in place, they don't move around. Transfer that last piece right here that sits on the side. Came out on this side with the protective film, so we're just going to move on to the other side and try to not do the same thing. And my blade broke and flew to across the room, so luckily I do have glasses. Just make sure you wear protective glasses. It's very important. Safety first. Alright, now that we have this one out, again, on the edge itself. Now I can remove this piece right here, set it down, and then put back those small rubber pieces. Alright, so now that these are in, we'll just put back the rubber pieces that we removed right where they were on the old screen. Obviously, before doing all of that, make sure you test that screen. It's very important that you test that screen so you don't waste your time assembling it and disassembling it, so you can return it to the supplier so they can swap it out for you. So it's very important. Be very diligent and go step by step. I obviously know that this screen is good. I did not test it, but just to make sure, you guys test it first in that video. Alright, so we're gonna bring that frame. I'm gonna move our blade around. Gonna move that screen to the side. Be careful with the screws. Now we have to apply adhesive. So let me get my adhesive. I'm using for this application 3M, the 300 SE, if I'm not mistaken. So we're just gonna go ahead and apply it to the edges. Now, make sure it sits inside. You don't want it to sit over. That means you would have to cut it, so make sure you have the right size. If not, it's no big deal. You can use a blade and then just run it across on the sides, so you can cut the excess piece off. I'm just gonna get my scissors here and then cut this piece so I can apply the round right here. So there's a small piece right here that we do need to clean up. My blade broke, so I'm gonna get another one real quick. And it's the number 04. These are for A, so they're not it. This is number, well, we can use the number 11, so that would work too. Actually, Do I want to use the number 11? No, I do not. Let me get the other one. So these are the 04. The difference between the number 11 is that it's triangular and pointy versus this one flat. Let's go ahead and remove the old piece from our blade holder. It's very important to make sure that the edges are very clean, as I said earlier in the video. Otherwise the tape would not stick properly. So I did miss a small spot right here that I'm taking care of right now. Alright, now we'll go ahead and continue applying the tape. Make sure that this is a bit thick for this edge on here, so I'm just gonna put the one here in the bottom, and then I'm gonna use a thinner tape for the top and the edge on my left hand side, which is here. Let me get the smaller edge tape. It is also 3M. Unfortunately, I do not have the same 3M, which is the 300 LSE. I have just the regular red tape. It's gonna have to do for now. The LSE, I feel like it's a bit better, it sticks better, but we do not have it, unfortunately, for that size. Make sure that that tape does not overlap on top of the above the frame itself, so you don't have to cut it later, or it just won't look good at all. We're gonna use the end of our spudger here, and then we're just gonna massage the tape down. It's important that you do that so it sticks in place, so when you lift that cover on it, it doesn't lift the tape with it too, and obviously it also makes the contact you need on the frame itself before applying the screen on top of it. Also, this pushes like the bubbles that get stuck underneath, and if there's anything uneven, you would be able to feel it as well. If it's bumpy or anything, you do not want it to be bumpy, otherwise that screen is not gonna stay there forever. Okay, now we can go ahead and remove those covers. Use my metal tweezers instead, because that plastic one is just not letting me grab it. See, on that edge it didn't get stuck. Now it is in place. You see, after massaging it with that spudger, the tape is really on there and it's not being lifted while I'm trying to remove the protective film of the other side. Doesn't lift up as I'm lifting the protective film. That's a really good sign. Now we can go ahead and line up that screen. We do have to remove that protective film. Let's go ahead and remove that. And then we can just go ahead and set that screen down. Now you can just start with one edge, so you don't have to let the adhesive attach to it. It's gonna be very hard to realign it if, for example, you misplace it. So just make sure that those rubber pieces that we just put back are in place and it's fitting right in between that frame right there. Again, these pieces are for it to be centered, so it doesn't look awkward when you're looking at it, doesn't look crooked or any of that stuff. Be careful with those antenna cables right here. You do not want to set the LCD on top of them, otherwise it won't sit flush. There you go. Now we can massage that screen in place. You do not want to put too much pressure on the bottom. Make sure you apply that pressure on the metal piece of the screen itself, so you don't apply too much pressure on that cable in the bottom. The only thing that's holding that screen to that frame is literally the adhesive. There's no screw tabs like majority of the screens that you would see in the market for laptops. This is a different design. We're gonna go ahead and connect our screen. Make sure everything is in place the way it's been designed to be. Again, be careful with the cable on the bottom. You don't want to apply too much pressure. Now that this is connected, let's put this on the side. We'll grab it later. And this piece of tape sat right across here, right on top. Don't apply too much pressure on there. It does not want to stick because I guess it lost its power, but it's okay. Now I want to apply too much pressure on that cable on the bottom. Now we can go ahead and connect the front camera and those sensors. I believe this is the lid sensor and the microphones. Not that they would use them, obviously. However, it's still good to connect them and make sure they're working, you know, not damage them while uninstalling and reinstalling. So we'll go ahead and put back those screws that we removed for these brackets. The screw here got attached to the magnet on the top, so just go ahead and grab it. I'm gonna put the sides first, just so I don't have to keep holding it, and I can free up my second hand. Okay. Now that we have this in place, we can go ahead and put the cover on top of the screen. Just make sure everything is in place and lined up. You do not want it to get chewed when you install this cover. I'll go ahead and lift up the screen. Remember, we have those two screws on the top. We'll put those first. So at this point, this back cover is pretty loose. It's not doesn't have any clips or anything. I thought it would stay on there, but it does not. So we'll just go ahead and put the top two screws first, right where we took them off. And now I can just remove my hand off of the back cover. Put the second one here. Okay, and then I can go ahead and install these plastic pieces back. This one's for the left side, which is my left. I'm not sure the orientation of this video. This is for my right side. Make sure you put them back right where they came out of. Go this way. Yes, it does. I was putting it in reverse. All right, we'll put this rubber piece back where we got it from. And then we'll go ahead and turn it on. Make sure we have image. And there you go, it's turning on. And this completes our video right now. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please smash that like button and give us a follow. Subscribe, and see you in the next one.